What's going on, everybody? It's been a really long time, but I'm finally back, and I'm going to go through Twist Mountain. And I think the last time I recorded one of these videos was in September, I believe, and right now it is November, so it's been about 2 months. And specifically today, it is Thanksgiving. So I just got home from my cousin's house where we ate a hell of a lot of food, and it was awesome. But now we are going to battle Charon. And I don't know, this is probably like the 6th or 7th time we've actually battled him, so he doesn't really have any new things up his sleeve as far as I know. And the first Pokemon is Unpheasant, so my Girder will destroy it with Rock Throw. Although it's kind of like a 5-5 matchup, considering Girder is really weak against flying. So, and what I mean by a 5-5 matchup is in Street Fighter terms, when you're talking about two different characters fighting, you base it out of like a first to 10 basis. So let's say you have Cammy fighting Fei Long. If Cammy is really bad in that matchup, it could be like a 2-8 matchup where Cammy would only win twice out of those 10 times. And that's I don't know, that's kind of like terminology that I like from Street Fighter. And actually, there's a lot of things that I like from Street Fighter that I would like to bring into the Pokemon community, such as, the 5-5 type matchup terminology. And more so, just like, I really like the competitive scene of Street Fighter because it's really exciting. And for example, I've been watching Gutex and Mike Ross, two really awesome Street Fighter people. I've been watching their videos. They have the Cross Counter TV channel on YouTube, and they're just really fucking entertaining, and they're really exciting, and they're really into what they do with Street Fighter. So I think it would be really awesome to bring that type of excitement to Pokemon. Except I think there's a lot of hurdles bringing that type of excitement and energy to Pokemon, considering a lot of times, if you watch like a stream, for example, of Street Fighter, like Team Spooky or Level Up Series or anything like that, a lot of times they just, they get in each other's faces, and in the end, it's all in good fun, and it's just to hype up the match and hype up the game. But, that's not really something you can do in Pokemon, for example, like, considering Street Fighter is very much an older person type game, and I'm saying older person, like, relative to Pokemon, considering Pokemon is anywhere from, 3 and up, pretty much. So whereas Street Fighter and those types of tournaments, it's pretty much an 18 or older scene, or, hell, even a 21 or older scene. Whereas, in Pokemon, it's more like, I'm 23 and I really like Pokemon. I really like the competitive scene in Pokemon, whether it be the video games or the TCG or anything like that. But in reality, being 23 years old, a lot of times it's like being the odd man out, and even if it's not really like that, because, for example, I went to Battle Roads. For anybody who doesn't know, it's a TCG tournament that they hold, pretty much at least twice a year, if not more. And it's an official Pokemon sponsored event. And when I went there, I hadn't played Pokemon cards I hadn't played Pokemon cards since like 2002 or something like that. So I didn't know what to expect, because in 2002 when I played, I was like 13 or 14 years old. So I was assuming there were going to be a lot of 13 or 14-year-olds playing. So essentially, I went there not really knowing what to expect, but I was kind of assuming that there were going to be a lot of young people there. But actually, when I went to my Battle Roads, there were more people my age than like under 16. And, well, especially under like the age of 14. Like, there were a lot of 16-year-olds Although there weren't really a lot of people, considering there were only like 12 people total. But yeah, I mean, there were probably like 4 or 5 people, including myself, over the age of 18. And that right there was pretty much like half. So I was really surprised. But anyway, back to my point. The point I was making, I think, was like Pokemon is much more of a broad base in audience. So having that type of excitement that Street Fighter kind of tailors isn't really possible, I don't think. And actually, a video that I featured on my website recently was from Jay Witz, and he pretty much delved into how we as a community could make the Pokemon community bigger and make it. And he was kind of bringing parallels to the Yu-Gi-Oh scene and the Magic the Gathering scene, which is really good and actually probably more applicable than my Street Fighter comparison. But I mean, really, that's the thing about it. Like Magic the Gathering, it's a more adult-oriented game, and I say that having played the game when I was 12. It, when I say it's targeted toward a certain audience, I don't mean it's exclusively for that certain audience. You know, I don't mean that only older people play Magic, but typically, if you go to a Magic tournament, there's probably more people over the age of 18 or 16 than there are less than 16 or 18, Whereas Pokemon, it's probably half and half, typically, as was the case in my Battle Roads. So, I don't know, I'm kind of rambling here, but I like talking about this. And I would really like to see Pokemon get to the point where it is bigger. And another hurdle, other than the fact that the typical audience or the target audience for Pokemon is kind of everybody or younger, and especially outside people that aren't into Pokemon, they definitely see it as a 6-year-old type thing, even though it's really not. It really is for everybody, and a lot of the competitive aspects, especially in the video games of like EV training and breeding for different egg moves and stuff like that, it's like that's not something that an 8-year-old's typically gonna do. That's something that someone my age would be into. But anyway, I think I've lost the point that I had in my head, but oh no, never mind. Another hurdle for Pokemon is the fact that pretty much all of the big events for Pokemon are officially Nintendo sponsored events. And because they are sponsored by Nintendo, and not really sponsored by Nintendo, they're ran by Nintendo. They specifically cater to everybody. Whereas if I were to hold my own tournament, I live in New Mexico, and if I was like, hey, I'm gonna hold a tournament in Albuquerque, I'm gonna use some of my own money for a prize pot, and I'm going to make, I'm gonna have a black and white video game tournament, and I'm going to have a TCG tournament. I could run it however I wanted, and I could kind of make it a much more competitive scene, as opposed to Nintendo kind of leaning themselves towards, hey, this is fun, this is for everybody. I wouldn't go that route. But in reality, most people in the Pokemon community at this point, I would assume they would rather go to a Nintendo event than an event such as mine, just because of the fact that, it's kind of a given that a Nintendo event will run a certain way, you're guaranteed whatever prizes you're guaranteed, etc., etc. Whereas, if I was holding an event, or if anybody else was, you could kind of, it's possible that someone would flake out or something. So, I don't know, there's a lot of work that could be done, I think, to really bring up the Pokemon community, but there's so many things weighing it down at the same time. And I think this would be a really awesome video to make in the future, so I'm probably going to make a mental note and go ahead and do that. So look out for that in the future, and have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next video.